Hey guys, so I'm making another video about this whole Mavs Luka situation just because since I made my last video over it, I think like a week ago today, it's only gotten worse. It seems like it gets worse every day. Somehow, the basketball gods find a way to make it worse for us. Somebody needs to carry Madame Zeroni up the mountain at this point, honestly. Because it honestly, truly feels like this team has been cursed this year by some unseen force. And Mavs fans are just paying the price now. Because, well, first of all, Anthony Davis, the guy we traded Luka for, well, him and Max Christie, but Anthony Davis was the main piece of it. He played his first game with the Mavericks this past Saturday. So what was that? Monday, Sunday, Saturday, 3 days ago. He had a monster first half. He did amazing in the first half. And for a slight glimpse, I mean, it still would have sucked. Don't get me wrong, but at least there's some hope. At least for the next couple years. Because I think even just in the first 4 minutes, I think he had 6 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block. It was crazy. He had a really great first half. And then the third quarter, I think it was the third quarter, he went out of the game with an injury. And it was a really weird injury too. It was like a non-contact injury. He just started holding his groin area kind of. And I've heard over the past couple of days it's apparently which I know he's been injury prone, but I haven't known exactly what kind of injury he's been dealing with. But it's apparently the injury that he's been dealing with here recently. So he goes out of the game. He doesn't come back. We do win the game, thankfully. But then Patrick Dumont, the owner for the Mavericks, the new owner, it's him, Patrick Dumont, and Miriam Adelson. They're the two new Mavs owners who bought the team from Mark Cuban last year. He said, I'm pretty sure it was on Sunday afternoon when he said it, or at least that's when the article was posted, so it was probably before then. But he said that he spoke on the Luka trade specifically, and said that Luka, well, he didn't say Luka specifically, but he said that, I can't remember what he said exactly, but something along the lines of, if you don't have the determination and the singular focus to win, like some of these other greats in the NBA have had, and I think he listed Kobe, Larry Bird, MJ, and Shaq. And he said if you don't have that singular focus to win, then you shouldn't be a part of the Dallas Mavericks. It's just why do you feel the need to put down Luka? Why can't you just be like, oh no. I feel like there's better ways you can go about explaining why you did the trade, and just say we wished Luka the best, but we decided to go a different direction with our team. I mean, don't get me wrong, you would still get hate for it because it's still a dumb decision. But why double down and talk so much crap about Luka? It doesn't make any sense, honestly. And what's even crazier is that in the 4 greats that he listed, who had this singular focus, singular vision of winning and his determination, of those 4 greats, he didn't list Dirk Nowitzki, the guy who played for the Dallas Mavericks for 20 years and is the greatest player of the team that you're owning, or the team that you own. It just shows you how out of touch he is with this whole situation and NBA in general, just being the owner of the Mavs. But then Sunday evening came along, Super Bowl Sunday, and for one, Dallas fans have to watch the Philadelphia Eagles win the Super Bowl, and not just win the Super Bowl, but win it in pretty dominant fashion. Which I'm not a Cowboys fan. I don't watch like the NFL like at all, really, honestly. But just, I mean, Dallas is my home team. I've lived in this area my whole life. So that was already. I mean, tough for me enough. But I mean, for Dallas fans in general, it was pretty tough just to watch that. But then during the Super Bowl game, we got the news that. Which let me backtrack before I say this. After Anthony Davis got injured, he went on the game. After the game, he spoke in an interview and he said that he doesn't think the injury is serious. Like he reassured fans that, oh no, it's nothing serious. So that's what he felt like. I mean, obviously he's not a doctor. He can't self-diagnose himself. But he said he felt fine. He said he didn't feel like it was anything serious. Anyways, Super Bowl weekend, Saturday, Super Bowl Sunday. We got the news during the game. I'm pretty sure it was during the game. I'm pretty sure I remember checking my phone and seeing the Shams tweet. Anthony Davis is likely to miss several weeks, maybe even stretching out to a month. Oh, it's like, it's so crazy. And it's funny, like after the game where he got injured, like a lot of like Lakers fans and just NBA fans in general were saying how like Mavs fans got to experience the entire Anthony Davis experience in one game, to where he plays amazing, one of the best players in the league arguably, with how he plays. At least one of the best two-way players, offense and defense. But then he goes down with an injury. All in one game. We got to experience the high highs and the low lows of having AD on our roster. But thankfully, we traded Luka because his conditioning wasn't good. So thankfully we did that. Because last night he finally played his first game with the Lakers. And what makes me even more sad about that is, I mean, think about it, like, that means Luka would have been back with us last night. And we are still dealing with injuries. That wouldn't have gone just magically away. Derek Lively's been injured. PJ was injured at the he didn't play at all last night in last night's Mavs game. Who else is injured? We've been dealing with so many injuries just throughout this entire season, even before the Luka trade. We were cursed, I feel like, before the Luka trade even happened, which is crazy enough beforehand. But then in the Mavs game last night, first of all, Daniel Gafford, who's been playing amazing while Derek Lively's been out. Derek Lively's probably been out for like a month or two, maybe. It's been a long while. But Daniel Gafford's been playing amazing in his absence. He goes out of the game with an injury pretty early on. I think like the second quarter of last night's game against the Sacramento Kings. It's like, when do we catch a break here? We're having Kessler Edwards play center position for some of the game. That's how bad the injuries have gone. Even Dwight Powell, of all people, has been injured. Kleba, who is part of the Luka trade to the Lakers, even he's injured. He has like a broken foot. And then to top that night off, last night, it was a close game, and we were able to send it to overtime, which, I mean, it probably shouldn't have gone to overtime. I think we were winning by a decent amount. near the end of the fourth quarter. But anyways, it goes to overtime. The end of overtime, Klay Thompson hits a 3-point shot with like 9 seconds left, and it was such an exciting thing. At least we have this one little bright spot. And then on the other side of the court, the Sacramento Kings bring it up, and I mean, DeMar DeRozan hits a shot and wins the game at the buzzer. Well, it wasn't at the buzzer, but there's only like 1 second left, and yeah, we didn't get a shot off. So we lost in overtime after Klay Thompson hit a buzzer beater to put us up by 1 point in overtime. It's just like, and then at the same time, Luka's over there debuting on the Lakers. And it's like, yeah, that was our Christmas present, because Luka Doncic got injured Christmas Day, and he hadn't played since then until last night when he played for the Lakers. So our Christmas present was watching Luka play for like one quarter. I think he got injured in the second quarter. And then that's the last time we'll ever see Luka as a Dallas Maverick. It's sad to think of it that way, but that is how it happened. Oh, and I didn't even get to the best part about the Anthony Davis injury that he sustained on Saturday. People, I think there are some like doctors who are giving their take on Twitter, and there's been like rumors, I think. Nothing's been announced officially, at least at the time of me recording this. But people are thinking, or there's a rumor, that Anthony Davis might need surgery, a season-ending surgery, for the injury that he sustained in Saturday's game. At that point, we just need to start tanking for Cooper Flag, or at least a good pick, because this season is just cursed. We just need to call it quits while we're behind already. It's almost like, because I remember a couple years ago, maybe like a year or two ago, there's that viral post where somebody saw this guy wearing a hat that was like the NBA champions 2026 Dallas Mavericks. It's almost like Nico Harrison or someone is a time traveler and came back and tried to stop that timeline from happening. Because we're well on our way to that actually coming true. Because whenever that post came out, I think we were decent. I can't remember when exactly, but it wasn't as likely as it was just a couple months ago. Because just last summer, we were in the NBA Finals. I'm wearing my NBA Finals shirt. And we had a really good team. We were suffering through injuries, but just as long as we got back from injuries, as long as we got most of the people back from injuries, we were going to be a really good team, arguably the best team, in my opinion, in the league. So it's like, did that timeline lead to something really bad? Which, I can't see that, because we're already living in a pretty crappy timeline right now. But did it lead to even worse timeline? Us winning the 2026 championship? So did Nico come back from that future to divert us into a new path? I don't know. I'm just kind of delirious right now. And also, Dirk Nowitzki, last night, he was at the Lakers game in LA to watch Luka's debut on the Lakers. And he made like a tweet saying like, I'll always be a Mav for life, but I wanted to come support Luka on his next chapter. And it's kind of crazy, because I'm pretty sure Dirk wasn't at Anthony Davis's debut on the Mavs on Saturday. So I feel like, in a way, it's like his silent protest for how dumb of a trade this was. But then also at the Mavs game last night, there was a guy who was put on the Jumbotron, which I've heard that it was the first time they've shown fans on the Jumbotron since the trade happened, because I guess they assumed that there's going to be people protesting if they were put on the Jumbotron. So, but last night there's a guy who was put on the Jumbotron at the Mavs game, and he mouthed the words, "Fire Nico." And I've heard people say he got ejected from the arena because of that. But I've also heard that he was able to say after that for a little bit. But then he pulled out signs that he had smuggled into the game that said "Fire Nico, still the team," which that's another thing. They've been banning those kind of signs and people wearing shirts that say "Fire Nico" or "Sell the team" or anything negative. They've been not allowing fans who have either of those into the games, which is kind of crazy in itself. I feel like you should allow them to protest it, especially if it's like peacefully like that. But yeah, that guy was escorted out by security after he brought out the signs that he smuggled in. But either way, it's just crazy that that's what our organization has come down to. It's kicking players out for protesting against one of the dumbest trades in NBA history, which I also still believe that the NBA had something to do with it. At least Luka's destination. Maybe not the decision to trade Luka, because I do still feel like it was the Dumonts and Adelsons who made the decision for the leverage for their casino. Which, if you don't know, if you haven't heard about that theory, watch my previous video on this whole situation. I'll put the link in the description where I described that. But I do still feel like the NBA had something to do with the destination, specifically being Lakers, because they always get the best players, and would not be surprised, especially with the NBA ratings being down and being such a big topic about how the NBA ratings have been down in the past few years. They had to do something to boost ratings. But also bringing up the Adelsons and Dumont and the whole casino theory. Honestly, if you're angry about this trade, like really, I really urge you to, and if you live in Texas, I really urge you to call your local officials and urge them not to allow gambling in Texas. Because I don't even care if it sounds petty. I would rather lose the Mavs in Dallas and have the Adelsons and Dumonts move the team to Las Vegas to have their casino than allow them to use our team as leverage just to get what they want. These billionaires using our team to get what they want. Like, I can't even imagine having a casino open up in Dallas and just be a constant reminder of what was sacrificed to get it. Like, that would just eat away at me even more than if the team moves to Las Vegas. And honestly, at this point, I'm even getting suspicious of all the injuries. I mean, how can we have this many injuries? And like, I feel like they're being vague about what the injuries are, and they're not being very open about what each of the players' injuries have been. But maybe I'm looking too much into it, and I think I am looking too much into it there. But everything else, I feel like it's just, there's something fishy just going on with all of it. I was thinking about adding this to my video last week, but I forgot to. But even before the Anthony Davis trade, like, even if we had won the championship, or even if AD comes back this season, if his injury isn't too serious and he comes back and we end up winning the championship, which I do think if we had a full healthy team and we were away from all these injuries, I do feel like we still have a really good team, a great team, a title contender team, in my opinion, honestly. But even then, like it's like it's not what we were invested in. Like, I was telling some of my friends that it's almost like if Breaking Bad had recast Walter White just randomly in the final season, like, and kept everything else the same, but just recast Walter White just randomly too, just out of the blue. The show would still be great. It's like if you kept everything else the same, the show would still be great. It would still be a great ending, but that's not who we were invested in. Like it wouldn't have the same feeling. It wouldn't have the same satisfying feeling, because that's not who we grew up watching. That's not who we were invested in wanting to see the end with, or any great show in general that had a great ending. Like if they recast the main character in the last season, it would have that same feeling. I mean, Luka played his first season in Dirk's last season, so Dirk and Luka played for one season together. It was literally a passing of the torch, and Luka came in at 19 years old. I don't know. It would have just been so much more satisfying watching that player, a player who people don't mention. He took us to the conference finals in 2022, and then he took us to the finals just last year. I mean, I'm not just completely by himself. I'm not gonna give him too much credit, but I mean, he was the main constant between those two teams. The 2022 conference finals and the 2024 finals team. I don't know. I'm just gonna stop ranting. We'll see where it goes, but it is not looking good for us Mavs fans, at least not for this year. I mean, it's even like a rainy, cloudy day. And last week it was just like 80 degrees and like sunshiny outside. But anyways, I'll stop rambling. Y'all take care.
Come on,